You're tuning in to Gone.net.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Gone.net. And it is now summer. And so if there's noise from the children who no longer go to school for the year, I don't know if your school is out already. Ours was out yesterday.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So it's that sad time of the year.
Sad? Aren't you supposed to be happy that your kids are home?
No, goodness.
Mine are out doing other things today, so I have quiet. And usually I just stick a tablet in front of their face if I'm doing a meeting or whatever, or they're outside.
That doesn't mean they'll be quiet, though.
No, I know. But, like, can't you just throw yours in a pool now?
Yeah, just pool? Go put them in the pool and leave and come back in my office. No problems. Yeah.
They're old enough now. You can just throw them in and be like, stay in here and shut up.
No? Can't do it. Never.
All right. Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't have this problem, surprisingly. But
what other problems do you have? I mean, not in the broad sense. It's more of a segue to what we're working on.
Teenage daughter?
Daughter? No. You know what problem you don't have is that your hockey team doesn't have a lower than first overall pick today. So I don't imagine many of our listeners or viewers are into hockey, but it's an exciting day for the Maple Leafs today.
You hope so. But the Maple Leafs, basically, that's where your hopes and dreams go to die.
Yeah, but I mean, it's at this point, that's what you do. You have to still hope.
Fair. Well, my Bills stadium opened. That was exciting, but
new stadium.
I still don't hold out hope that they'll win a Super Bowl anytime soon. But whatever.
It'd be nice to go to the new one. I mean, you're not too far from there, obviously, so you can make it over for a game. And
but they're a good enough team that it's like $500 a ticket right now. So
even in the new stadium, did they raise the capacity at least?
Yeah, but it's super expensive, so it'll be.
That's worse than Leaf tickets. What's going on?
Well, because the Leafs are consistent garbage and people show up. Yeah,
but
right?
They still charge ton. Like you still can't get a seat for less than like $200.
Right, but if the Bills suck, they go down. If the Bills are good, they go up. The Leafs just consistently stuck, and the prices just keep going up. So that's Canada's fault. So, positive things in the .NET community this week. I don't know. I've released four major versions in DocDB this week.
What's the highlight of the feature set that's now in there since?
Okay, so I've been trying to squeeze performance out of it left and right. So I added full text search, and these are things I'm like putting through their paces now. There's, I don't want to say it replaces any EF Core everywhere or even Dapper everywhere. I've still got a couple apps that are so heavily relational that it would be stupid to go document, but there's a couple apps where they really truly are documents, and it's like it just speeds things up exponentially. So, and I mean, I've got vector storage in there. I've got I don't know what the hell. I've got those AI tools, which we did do a live stream on that. Yeah. We were like, tell it to delete everything. And it did. You know what? I'm not going to throw on the guardrails because I left them open. You got to turn delete on.
People want to use it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. That's on them. It has a tenant ID. I don't know if you ever work with tenants. But if you work with EF Core, it's not uncommon to have like a tenant ID or a tenant provider go in. And so stuff like that's in there. Grapes, I don't even remember all I've added. I should pull up the release notes.
But that's like going back to what you said about like document versus not relational or more relational. Like that's kind of the pivot point here for this thing, right? Like if you're doing something that you really don't want, I don't know. Like I have a hard time. Most of the stuff I do anymore is document because I find it easier. I don't have to deal with like schemas and stuff. And most of my queries and things are not like heavily, joined on various columns and stuff, right? So
fair.
I guess that's the point at which you start being like, no, maybe relational still makes more sense with some other thing.
And that's, like I said, if you've got like many to many tables everywhere, it's hard to turn that into a document.
Column level, like security, maybe stuff like that.
Yeah, that's usually easy to accomplish with DTOs and stuff. But anyhow, some of the stuff I have been working on, if you use Orleans, so this is one I added. So you have membership tables, you have your grain storage, you have your reminder storage if you use reminders. The problem is like with grain storage in Orleans, you can't query across it. It makes sense, right? Because it's supposed to be agnostic in terms of how you store your document or your blob for your storage, right? And it's supposed to be really a grain has a blob or a document associated with it. You shouldn't be putting a lot of historical stuff in it because it hydrates that per use, right? And if you do have, like, say, a grain that keeps references to other grains, which is common, if you say, get me all the grains that have, I don't know, 10 wins as a game, right? So go find me a player that has at least 10 wins. It's going to activate each and every single grain that's not already active. So that's not good either, right? So now if you had 100 grains referenced, it just queried 100 grains. It's not quite as bad as, the historical N+1 for databases, but it's still not great.
Yeah.
So this persistent storage, if you use it, it technically puts everything in the document DB, and you can just query the document DB storage like normal without spinning up grains, without doing any of that stuff, right? So it allows you to do this without activating. And then you could probably say, okay, spin up these grains and add a win or put a loss or put them in another category of player, right? Like that's the ability that's there. So that was something I've added.
Okay.
I put in Aspire integration. So app host and client. So that's another good one.
Basically, like, so that it kind of initializes the database and tables and stuff and sets everything up.
Seeding is part of it. It's more a case of where you pass down so this is a Postgres database and here's its connection string, and then it just figures it out. Okay. So when you go, give me my document store, you don't have to do any thinking. Your API or whatever's referencing it just gets it. And then what else did I do? Some JSON schema validation, because we now have write interceptors. So if you use DB context at all, you're used to there's not going to be any query interceptors.
Okay.
Because that is next to impossible to do. But there is write interceptors. So you can essentially, when a write comes in, validate its JSON schema if you want. So it's just easy things like that. The other two big ones, OData. Oh my God, OData I don't traditionally use because it's very reflection heavy when it gets into EF Core, and it's pretty darn slow. So I made it so it does all of the OData translation with AOT and no reflection.
Oh, sweet.
So it's like instantaneous. And then offline sync, which we won't get into, that's a bigger, weirder thing, but it does have a sync now tied with some of the other Shiny components that are in there. So, and then I've done 3 major versions in the past month. There's another one cooking right now that's going to be like a strongly typed DB context. And it'll source generate all of the types that you want to use. It doesn't make your seeding per se. It just kind of gives you that ability to go document store .users .something. And then it's also generating the JSON context. So you don't have to do any of that manual wiring that we normally do. Again, if you use DocDB, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, it basically uses system text JSON source generation to accomplish its no reflection, high AOT stuff. So that's cooking. Computed columns, which is a big, huge win as well. That tunes your performance. So if you have a computed column in a database, and you want to say like, I don't know, orders times product cost, right?
Yeah.
It'll index that properly and you can query by it without having it necessarily in your document.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's a big win because when you do date or cost calculations on JSON columns in a database, it has to cast them. So there's a bit of a perf loss there. That's one of the things where DocumentDB was losing. Now we're winning again. We'll be winning again today. I got to run new performance data, but it'll be a win.
I mean, it's crazy. At this point, like I'm using it in a bunch of places. Anytime I spin up something new, even if it's just like a side project, personal thing, especially if I'm using just SQLite too, like it's just like easy. I'm just like I usually just paste the Shiny LLM's text URL into my prompts and be like, use DocumentDB, use whatever other Shiny things, make sense for functionality that you need to implement anyway. And then it goes and does it.
And the last thing it's working on today is DocDB lost to Dapper for batch inserts. There's batch inserts in DocDB right now, but it still has to do the work of serializing each document back down. Mm-hmm. So it just could not beat the raw thing of Dapper until we take a JSON document stream, feed that through, and then serialization is done. So you take a whole huge document, you serialize it down once, and then it just raw inserts there is a bit of a schema that has to be there.
Right.
But it goes through that document using async enumerable. So it's memory efficient and it just zips through. So I think I may be able to come close to tying. I don't expect to beat raw Dapper or raw ADO, but it's going to come a lot closer.
Because at the end of the day, you're still putting JSON into the database, right? Essentially.
Yes, but it doesn't have to take the object, serialize it down and insert it, even though that was fast and no reflection because of source generation. Now it's just going to take a specific property out of the JSON doc and shove it in. So it doesn't have to do anything aside from insert this JSON document. So it doesn't have to serialize. It barely has to do any compute.
Yeah.
Still won't beat raw ADO, but it'll get that much closer. And I'm already murdering EF core and speed everywhere.
I mean, for the convenience alone, like the thing to me that's always, or where I started getting lazy with document databases is just that. Like, I don't want to have a structured scheme, fine, but like, I don't want to have to update my database scheme.
Yeah.
Whenever I do a change, because I don't, that sucks when you're doing it like client side, especially, right? When migrations have to be perfect, and if you mess them up, then you're in even more trouble. Yeah, like it just I don't like dealing with that. So no, thank you.
It's always been a problem too for like if you have a MAUI app and like you had to store versions, like EF Core stores versions, and then it would, if that fails, there's no fixing it. It's mobile. You're pooched. Right. You usually have to tell them to delete the app.
You better be able to like, get that data back down if it's on the server originally or something like that. And if not, whoops, sorry. Hope you guys backed up. Hope you made a backup feature. Hope it works. All that.
A SQLite does it well. SQLite Net PCL does a good job because basically it just goes, any columns that aren't there in this object, create them.
Yep.
And it creates some nullables. It kind of manages them. But I've seen people, I caught one recently, renamed an object property name. That's a no, because that previous data is there and now it's like a new property. So the data's gone.
Yeah.
Right. So there's still gotchas if you're not careful and you're not aware. So it's all these things. Data's hard. If you don't think about it properly. I guess the only reason I know this is because I've done all the stupid things. I'd love to say that's what the gray hair on my face is from. It's not, but it's certainly a stress point. So that is all the stuff going on. I wanted to talk about DocDB because it's just been insane. It keeps growing.
Well, and I don't see a reason for most people, especially if you're doing like I don't know, unless you have something massive, some huge application, some huge system. And I don't mean from that you still shouldn't use it. I mean, I understand taking a second and saying like, is this the right fit for what I'm doing? Yep. But if you're like just playing around with building apps here and there for your own use, whatever, just use the thing. Or if you just need something to store data easily on mobile that you used to maybe use SQLite for and SQLite.net, like just use this because it's AOT compatible, right? So like we're there already. There's no reason not to, I think, honestly.
This is one of the, now for people that are wondering, that started off as SQLite. I talked to John about this 2 years ago. It was an idea. I did frame it out. Mm-hmm. But it vibed. I vibed a lot of the features, but then I put them through their paces. And there's like 3,000 unit tests at this point, mm-hmm. which I've also validated. So yes, it's vibe coded to a point, but it's also starting to get usage. Yeah. John uses it, and listen, he is one of the pickiest users. We love you, John, but you are one of the pickiest users. Annoying. If this had any references or anything, he would be on my ass instantly about it.
Well, and so when we first started talking about the idea, that was when like I was always looking like, what do I want to do in pool math? So I used LightDB for a long time, which was great because it was a document DB, which fits how my stuff is stored on the server side for one. But I was running into problems with getting it building properly, like on iOS with linking, and it just it did like system link expression stuff like crazy, and it was kind of slow for what it was. It was okay enough for me, but at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, finally, I would go to SQLite, but I don't really want to lose my document DB aspect of it, mm-hmm. Right? I ended up making the whole SQLite layer where I'm doing kind of what you're doing in some shape, where I shove the data in, and then I'm using like, calculated columns and stuff for a few things, and that works. But I would be happy enough to move on to this once I have the time to do it, just because then I don't have to maintain my whole like SQLite layer of, custom queries and all sorts of crazy stuff that I'm doing just to make it work.
And John complained at me enough to put in, because you use Cosmos DB. Mm-hmm. So Cosmos DB support is there. It wasn't too hard to get that because it's a natural fit for the most part. But then you have SQLite, or if you're using, what'd you say, LightDB's in there as well. So it's got all these options, and well, I mean, it's using a LightDB AOT compatible library, but
somebody made that eventually. But,
it's relatively it's passing tests, but it has lots of gaps. So it allows you to move if you want. That's basically why it's there.
Are you doing anything with like patching of parts of documents and stuff within
yes.
it? Oh, yep. Okay. And that translates into like the right Cosmos patching calls? And
yes, it does.
Because that was one area that I've actually, I've used AI to help do it, but on my server, I'm trying to optimize things, right? I'm looking at like high cost, heavy, RU per second costs on queries of things that run on the server. And a lot of stuff that, it kind of helped find was like, oh, well, you're doing this operation where you either just only need to read like a subset of the thing, or you only need to, reading wasn't even the worst as much as like, you're pulling the whole document just so that you can change one little field somewhere, or add an element to an array in some part of the document. You don't need to do all that. Like that's heavy to take a huge record and send it back and forth just to add one little thing here, right?
Yep.
And so I started optimizing around that, and that was actually a huge difference. So if this is already set up for that, even better. I can move my server over eventually to it.
I basically stole. I say stole because I didn't invent the feature. EF Core did a lot of things. Like EF Core is really the grandmaster of features.
Mm-hmm.
And so where I could borrow stuff from them, I did. The one thing that was just an outright copy was they have execute update and execute delete. It's the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have execute update, execute delete. And so they do the same thing, but they patch the actual precision points in your document without pulling it all out, arranging a delta and shipping it back. So I don't know, man, this thing is epic in terms of features. And it's in a lot of cases now ahead of EF Core, like streaming queries and stuff, right? Like async enumerable streaming queries.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's awesome. At the same time, I don't really do anything server side except for Cosmos. So like, I don't even care about EF Core. Like but I know there's a huge amount of people that, do use it for stuff and probably would really benefit from considering not doing it that way and using this because they'll never really, I think, be able to achieve, at least not easily, any kind of AOT compatibility there either, right?
And it's AOT. I never thought it would actually make that big of a difference.
So big of a difference.
It really, really does.
Yeah.
If you're starting to pay for server resources, like I said, this made some of the queries so lightning fast, and the memory still isn't going up because when we build JSON APIs, you still take it out, you still serialize this document and ship it out. So there's almost no difference, right? The difference is with DocDB, you can ship it right on through.
Yeah.
And it's a huge difference, man. This one app, I can't even believe how much difference it is, because on the client side, on the mobile app, I also have AOT.
Yeah.
So between perfect AOT on the server to perfect AOT on the app, it's like, you don't really notice, you don't know how much faster it is until you see it.
Well,
and it's a noticeable difference.
People generally are, I think we're AOT conscious because of mobile first. I think like client is definitely, I don't want to say like more important for it, but I think it's where people feel the pain, obviously, because they're lower devices, whatever. Or even just like, think about like if you run a console app, the thing like AOT'd running is like instantaneous when you execute it versus like, yeah, it's not slow subsequent runs when you run a normal, .NET app on the console. But I don't know, just the speed is crazy. And for clients for like mobile, we're pushing that direction because that's one area that's just, you can't beat the improvement in performance by doing much else. Like it's just the best way to get things fast. But I think server side like hasn't been a big area where people care that much because it's like, well, it's the server. It's fine once it's warm and it's all jitted. But like
yes and no.
No, I agree,
right?
And I think that we'll start to see the pattern of people caring more as like, I don't think cloud infrastructure is going to get cheaper anytime soon, given the current context, right? And if we're all looking for opportunities to like minimize everything, memory usage, whatever, any compute, like this is the next step too. So it'll go to server. The
crazy thing is the vast majority of customers I still see today are still on a Newton Soft.
Yeah.
Which is all fine and dandy, right? But like, even if you are using system text JSON, like 90% of them don't have the source generation running, which is like, yes, system text JSON is faster, but like you're missing that source gen, man, is a world of difference. And all those cycles that come off your compute time is
even
huge.
If you're not AOT, and at least just doing the source gen for that stuff in the first place is massive. Yeah.
So if you're still using EF Core, that's fine. But if you use the system text JSON, it really sheds, because people don't send like 5 records over the pipe, right? They usually send like, here's for mobile, but a lot of people go, oh, well, you can paginate. No, man, send 500 records and let it do it in memory. Just send the 500 records, one query done, keep it in memory, keep it in a cache, whatever. But that's still 500 records that have to serialize, right? So it's a relatively big document. If you've got that all source gen, it's like instantaneous out the door. And then you're only paying for data that needs to get out.
Yeah.
So AOT your apps, man. Server 2. I can't tell you. You will actually look at it. You don't even need to measure it. You can look at it and see the difference. Don't take my word for it. Go try it. You'll see, and you'll be like, shit, man, I should have been doing this years ago. So I guess that was a long-winded babble for it, but man, it's beautiful.
I think it's worth it. It deserves it. Yeah, go check it out. Go use it in your stuff, everybody.
So the next problem that we've been dealing with, we took a break last week.
Yep.
Because you had life.
I had life.
You had to go and, it's your wife's birthday.
Yeah.
I guess that's a good enough excuse. It's, you got to do those things.
Yeah, that's right.
So we are back this week. We're continuing because this has been a long drawn out thing. CI sucks. It's always going to suck, right? It has its place. It helps us streamline a lot of process, but I don't know about you, but it breaks frequently, right? Something stupid breaks all the time. So our goal has been, John's got his amazing tool Sherpa. It builds everything. What if we build what we're calling this ball of mud? Actually, I should probably bring up my laptop because or my screen on my laptop. So we had this thing. Actually, you know what? I can go to GitHub. So we have the spec in GitHub. Under MAUI Sherpa, I'm going to turn on my screen. Give me 1 second. And we're going to do that and look into the abyss. So I think we made an issue for this, right? Okay.
Look at that.
Is it big enough, John? Are you blind today?
Yeah, no, actually, I think it's okay today. Maybe I'm super dialed in. I can see.
All right. So we'll go one bigger because he's being nice. So we came up with this 3 thoughts. We want to install. That means provision profiles, certificates, etc. Variables. Build, which means build a MAUI app, or at least .NET. We're not really sure. We need to be specific, but probably build a MAUI app. And then last, deploy. So John's thinking was, if we can do the install and deploy, this technically works for a good portion of a native app, right? Yeah. So if you build or a Flutter app or whatever the heck you want to build with, that's fine. But we'll do all 3. So we've basically come up with environments, so like production. We can pass in variables. The lowest variable wins is kind of what we've been saying. So if you've got this variable down here,
it would override
the top level.
Yeah.
So we could have a good set of defaults, and then we can just override as we get down. As it is, I think I've actually missed an update because we also added like these parse variables. So John was thinking, hey, we can pass down the build ID or a date stamp or whatever, right? And we could pass it in. We do a sweep of this document and search and replace, kind of like a document. I'm trying to think of template parsing or something.
Yeah.
And so we could get actual MS build variables into here or whatever the case may be. So we've been working on it the past few episodes. The goal is to continue to work on it. So I think at the end of last episode, I know at the last episode, we basically got the thing compiling. So I don't know. We haven't seen the UI yet. We completely vibed it. We told it what we wanted.
Yeah.
Let us see. I might have to tell UI to launch or AI to launch it, but we'll see. Because John does not go into Writer to run this app.
No,
he is melting. He is evaporating the entire ocean for this app. Meaning he's like, just launch the app and show me. Now, to be fair, you're in a loop, right? When you tell it to do something, you just keep steering it and it's in a loop. So you kind of get away with it. But today we need to run it, and maybe we'll get the loop going too.
Did you rebase anything at all? Not that I think you need to.
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. I'm gonna
the
have
one
to.
That went in because I did add some changes, and there's an update for the secret storage, right? So that you can add like folders and stuff.
Yeah, and we're gonna need to pull that in anyways. See, I knew this wasn't gonna run. Okay, let's bring up Claude. Okay, so the thing with running Mac OS AppKit apps in Rider, the app ID needs to match the project name.
Because they don't calculate, they don't get the calculated value properly, right? They assume something. This is my whole, like, you know, stand where I take my last stand against the world for all of this stuff. This is why I wanted to get the build output stuff, so that you have the variables for the things that are calculated, like where did the app go? We want to go send it to test flight. Well, tell me from the build where that actual IPA file is on disk.
So John is talking about a PR that he submitted because he wanted it for this, specifically for this app. All right. So let us see where, first of all, where it put this damn thing. All right. I'm going to guess under publish. No. Where did it put our latest stuff? Let's ask it.
Well,
where is our new... Okay, well,
because you're basically doing a publish profile.
So we need to...
You might need to rebase on the newer stuff, to be honest. We'll see.
I'm gonna import a backup that I have. I don't care if it sees it. You're not getting very far with it anyways, so. All right, so let's see what we've got. So that should bring in our secrets. It should bring a whole ton of apps in. This is the sample one, so this is good news. So build bundle. So let's look at one of the stupid apps. Build bundle. What is this? Oh, John, look at that.
Not a bad start.
That's not a bad start.
Yeah, you get to pick the platforms.
Oh my gosh, look at that. Look at that.
Build substitution, replacing tokens, variables. So your deploy targets, it will be interesting too. Yeah, I don't...
Environment name, deploy targets. Oh, look at this. Look at this, dude.
I would even put in Microsoft Store there. That's
I told it to. I told it to, but look at, dude.
Yeah. What fields would you be? Like, what would that do?
What is this?
I don't know. Maybe you can somehow like set something on the request for Apple or something like that.
So again, what this is this is what's going to build that JSON blob.
Mm-hmm. What
we're going to do is, we haven't actually decided how we're doing this yet. I think what we said is we're going to use DocumentDB. I think.
Yeah.
We'll use the SQL Cipher, right? We'll bundle it all up with a password because we don't need to encrypt it. It already comes in SQL Cipher, right?
Yeah.
So if we bundle that all up, put a password on it, shove that in as the ball of mud, then the CLI can then take that plus password plus ball of mud, pull it all apart and do the phases, the install, the build, and the deploy.
Yeah. So the one thing that we ran into last time, if you remember, was that the ball of mud is too big to put as a secret or whatever in the CI systems.
Now, yes, you're right. However, there was something that we missed as part of this, and I have come back to this. When we think about it, that was a raw JSON text file. When this goes into a binary blob or a database SQLite, it should be much smaller.
Yeah, I'd be curious, though, to see how much smaller it compresses down to.
If it is not, the fallback plan was to take the blob or make the CLI blob storage intelligent, right? So we could say, go off to Azure Blob Storage, an S3 bucket, whatever. And then that way it could go and pull the file down. Now, we're starting to get into some build complexity there. So we don't want to do that if we don't have to.
Right. Yeah. The dream is that you have, just one secret you set somewhere. This is like, and it really bugs me if we can't achieve that, just because this is part of the reason why I did Sherpa in the first place. Is every other system was like, well, you got to add like this key and then this key and then this key. And it's no, all of this can get gated behind. I want one thing to like access the whole set of info. So
the other thing to consider is that Azure DevOps already has like a secret file or protected file store.
Does GitHub have anything like that?
No, I don't know why. At least that I've seen. I'd be happy to be corrected, but I have never seen anything that looks like file storage for actions.
Yeah.
So there's lots of options to consider. I think what we need to do is go with the idea, and then we know one way or the other, we can find a way to work with this.
Yeah.
So goal is, let's build this ball of mud. Let's see if we can get CLI out on the other end. So I wonder if we should build this for Sherpa. Yeah, it may be difficult. So it's got Mac OS and it's got Catalyst. Look at that.
Yeah.
But it does not. Why isn't Windows on? It is on there. It's behind my camera. I wonder if we should add Linux too. I guess we don't. Linux doesn't have a deployment target though.
The thing that's kind of interesting here though is, I mean, I guess it's giving you the option in the deploy targets and stuff for which platform that you're picking. It's just like some of those, like I don't see a concept of it trying to group some of the fields into like the platforms, right? Because like your checkbox in the platforms, like those should have their own kind of nested set of things. So that might be a gap in the first iteration.
Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to cancel this for a second. So yes, we've got that. So you're right. Why is it?
Start with those two and see what it does. Like it's probably just going to shove the same stuff in every section, maybe. I don't know.
All right. Well, let's take out the deploy targets. Let's start with build platform. So application version. Let's put in the build number. It's funny. It's got the suggestion, but I think we said it was going to be this, right?
Something like that, yeah.
And then the Sentry token. Let's just do Sentry DNS, DSN, HTTP to do build number. I keep putting builder number. Let's just do 1111. Okay. And we'll say this is production as the variable. And yeah, let's start there. Okay, so
let's give you a double extension on there. Sherpa bundle.
Yes, it did. Bundle. Yeah, we did. Good job. Is it going to even let me change the name?
Probably.
It's interesting. All right. Okay, so we got the Sherpa bundle. I'm going to put this into to beat the bank. My cheap CarPlay game. Save. Let's build and save. And God knows what's going to come out the other end. Okay. So we now have a bundle. I wonder if we should get AI to write some tests, bundle the CLI. Why don't we do that?
Well, maybe we should check.
Well, we do this first. What's in the bundle?
Well, yeah.
Well, the other curious case is where's the I think we started with no password, right?
Yeah, maybe that's it.
So I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna find that thing.
And like, yeah, what is the like what kind of file is it? A zip file? I don't know. Who knows? Is it just the JSON and they?
So I should be able to take this and just rename it to a database because we said it's just going to be a database, right?
I guess if it is actually a database,
it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Right? Let's open. Come on. And we'll go to document, add a connection. This is SQLite and Sherpa. Storage type file, choose file. You know, it sucks having I have a camera right in my face. So you don't see it, but it's like it hides right dead center of my screen.
You can't see.
So that's why I'm like looking around it going, what the hell's going on here? Okay, so beat the bank. And let's see if this guy loads. It did not load.
Try just opening it in a text editor. I feel like it could be just a JSON file.
That's a good point. Yeah, but don't assume. You're assuming it's a database. Stop assuming it's a database. Okay, I'm going to rename it again.
Yeah, JSON, whatever.
Sure, let's try JSON. Keep the DB.
It's 40 KB, so that seems a little big for a JSON file.
There we go.
Okay, it is.
Oh, there's all my keys for everybody to see. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Except that's not my keys. Well, it is and it's not. All right, whatever. Cool.
You've had a lot of rotating of keys after episodes.
Yeah, it's all right. Like this is a stupid app, so I don't really care. Yeah. And like you can't do anything with my Sentry Auth token.
Yeah.
I guess you
Maybe
could.
Your Azure Open API stuff should get rotated then.
This one's on a stupid. Yeah, you're right. But that one's on this is a stupid account anyway, so I'll kill that after. I think that one's already dead. Okay, so it is a JSON file. Let's tell it. What did we say was missing from the UI?
Does it need to be a? I mean, the database gets us the encryption, I guess, and maybe it
yes,
maybe it compresses it better. I don't know.
So generating the publish. What are we calling this to? The publish bundle.
Build bundle. Yeah.
The build bundle needs to go to a SQLite ciphered database, which means we'll need a password to be set on the bundle as well. We'll use shiny.documentdb.sqlite cipher 9.1. Make sure to create I guess we don't really care if this one's AOT per se, but let's just start there and we'll let it figure it out. The rest of your app is an AOT yet, John. What's going on?
I know.
As I'm about to cut the corner, and I think the next thing I want to do is now create a set of unit tests for our Sherpa UI bundle creation and our bundle CLI to ensure end-to-end functionality. So let's give that a second. So again, the goal is to take our build bundle, which looks flawed actually. You know what the funny thing is where the hell are the secrets? So this is a replace token.
Yeah, that's like we should be able to like select the different secrets we want, and then for each level of like global or each platform or whatever.
Our build bundle screen should be able to pull in values from our secret stores. So this one is going to need an update or a rebase because of what you've done, but we can probably come back to that. So these values can be used in, I don't know, MS build properties, I guess anywhere. Right?
Yeah, it should replace tokens where,
in any of the MS build properties, replace tokens and or variables. Also note that these fields can still be free-form text. So there, we're gonna friggin' have this thing going on two things at once. Do you think we're gonna hit any issues? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I always do work trees with everything that I do, just because I don't like keeping.
You don't like keeping it on?
Yeah.
Well, let's let this one burn, and I'll come back to it. I'm not going to create two work trees because otherwise it's going to be a pain because we're stepping through this, right? And then I want to create the unit test will be fine. once we have that, I almost look at when you're working with AI, right? The encrypted database and update the Sherpa pipeline readers encrypt. Yeah, full trip. Goodness, full round trip.
Yeah, we need both sides.
Yeah, replace with encrypted. The JSON still internal representation. Reader. No, we will have a document per. I think we want to say environment. JSON still exists. Internal environment. Otherwise, number one is good. User enters it in the modal. Yes. Yes. Good. So now that's going. And then this one we're going to have running. So let's see. What else were we missing here? And I'm going to pull. Oh, I've got it closed now. So
Yeah.
I got to reopen it. I need another guy open.
That's going to like do it mid change too. And
Reopen. Open. Or launch Mac OS app kit. Up. Usually I don't mind running without a work tree because it's still the same feature. And one of the things I find when you're doing architecture anyways, you should be planning out kind of the order of operations and how you're going to implement things. So it's good to kind of stack. Whereas work trees, sometimes you're like, you got to do all these merging of things.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of have the opposite problem. One thing I like with the GitHub app is you can now nest sessions. Oh. So you could have it all working on the same folder, kind of like what you're doing, but then have one session that's like the coordinator of it all. And you can be like, hey, you're the manager of these other things. Like every time we spin off a task, like go work on it, but make sure that you help coordinate.
So everything else is working here.
Yeah, so that's there.
We need to get assigning material is pulled in from this profiles, Apple certificates profiles.
That actually makes sense.
But then it means it's pulling it in from the other, like the others. Oh
no, from this. So like if you cancel out of here, because it's a profile already. So actually,
right. So it's pulling it
this
from.
Is maybe smarter than us.
Yeah, but is it though? Because now it's pulling it from here.
Yeah.
Right. So we have to set it up in two places. I guess that's not really the end of the world.
It's pulling it up from here. And all of it. So it should even be like sending the secret mappings that you added here into the bundle. But yeah, you'd have to.
I still want to be able. Yeah, I still want to be able to select those into the tokens, right? So into the variables and stuff. Maybe.
Well, I think that the issue here is this is like a one global level, and now you don't really have control over which secret mapping, like which secrets go to global or to just iOS or to just Android or.
I think so. It did pull these secrets in though to that blob, right? To the JSON file. It had.
I think so. Yeah. So, but they're in there, but you had no choice over what sort of scope you wanted them pulled into.
Yes. And that's the other thing too. If we do that, are we even going to have control of that scope? This is where the UI gets confusing now because we're going to have these. These are what deploys to GitHub secrets, right? Or Azure DevOps secrets or whatever.
Yeah.
So the profile, we almost need to consider renaming this to CI secrets. So this is stuff that we'll publish to your CI if you want it, but it'll pull in frig because
it gets complex. And I think I'm okay if we want to rework this part too. Because the kind of interesting thing is at this point we're almost we have different paths. Like I almost wonder if we should go back and separate out publish profile versus like bundle, because like publish profile is kind of like it's gonna go right to like GitHub itself,
and it's slightly different.
Yeah, it's just not quite the same concept, and I like the make everything work for every scenario part of me is like, yeah, it's nice to have the options, but at the end of the day, like, do you really, I don't know, do you really need all, like the goal is to basically not need this publish profile functionality where it goes and writes every individual secret to GitHub for you, right? When you click it, the idea is like, no, that's a bundle now. And maybe we still use
we have both.
Well, we still
have to have both.
The functionality of like being able to write a secret because we want to write the bundle as the secret. But do we need this part where it's like writing the individual secrets as you want them? I don't know. Maybe it's fine. Yeah, maybe it's fine to have both, and we should just break out the bundle into its own section, like separate from publish profile.
So but we'll have to document that, and it's going to be another tab.
Yeah.
I mean, not really. It's not really a problem because I think now we're getting into the case of which way. You're right. We're trying to produce two different results. So it thought it was being smart, but now it's created confusion.
Yeah, it makes for a weird UX. Like, I think you have to pick the experience you want at the outset and be like, I'm using bundles, and so everything goes into the bundle, and then I use the bundle on my CI. Or I'm not using bundles, and I actually want to like have this thing figure out how to send out all of the different values to DevOps or GitHub or whatever.
So if we create one called CI Publisher, and then we create one called Bundle Publisher.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to document that. Maybe put some text at the top to say what its purpose is in life.
Yeah.
But
I already find this one a little confusing anyway, too. You know, like
it is, and it's. I mean, you can see I've got like a 1,000. There's like
figured it out, obviously.
Short ton of apps in here, right? Yeah. So, I mean, it works well for me. I mean, the only thing it doesn't have is, so if I cycle a profile, this is just something I'm thinking off the top of my head. If I cycle like a certificate, because I usually have like 4 or 5 certificates.
Yeah.
So when that yearly Apple thing comes around, I obviously create a new cert. Then I put it in, and I almost need to go, okay, these 10 apps, recycle it and publish it all.
Yeah.
There almost needs to be a global, because it's not really a huge deal. It's there.
No, yeah,
it's
for sure.
All right. So I'm going to I think we can finish these prompts anyways. Mm-hmm. And then probably what we can do is end the episode. I'll start a prompt to say, okay, let's separate them. Let's have a bundle publisher.
Yeah.
Which should essentially clone some of the features from publish profile, but we want to diverge. We want to have 2 separate paths.
2 separate paths, and like we don't then need, I don't know, like, do we need all the like concept of key mapping and stuff like that at that point, right? Because like,
no, we don't.
When you have the bundle, so the only thing that I guess I'm not clear on how we're doing it, or the best way is like, okay, I've got my bundle, it's got a bunch of stuff in it, so now I'm just when we undo the bundle, when we extract the bundle and like install it, some things are obvious for how it works. Like an Apple cert is going to go where it goes. Mm-hmm. Profiles are going to go where they go. That's fine. But what about like just random secrets and variables? Like, how do I then consume those, right?
So
I know for MAUI the goal is like they would just kind of flow through to the build portion where they need to and whatever. But if you're either doing something custom, you're not using the MAUI, the automatic building part of it or whatever, I think we need a way for that to be understood.
You're saying, how does this get into the app?
Well, yeah. So not even into the app, maybe into wherever. What if I've got a secret that I want to use somewhere else in my workflow that I'm putting in here as well? It's some custom step in my workflow that isn't part of the MAUI build.
So I think MS build properties would cover that. right?
Well, it's not MS Build. It has nothing to do with .NET. It's some other secret. I'm running some custom action step that I've used from whatever. Maybe it's like it doesn't matter what it is. So
I see what you're saying.
I've got a secret in here or a variable or something. Like I want to take a secret that I've stored because Sherpa is my source of truth for everything. I want to take that secret and I want to be able to also like maybe my pipeline, I have another like workflow that is not doing anything MAUI related, but I still want to use the Sherpa bundles because it's convenient and I have everything in it, right? So I have the Sherpa bundle extraction part that maybe on like GitHub can write out like secret values or environment variable values.
Environment variables.
Yeah. And then I have to consume those somehow. And I guess like, so then my question is kind of just back to the environment variable that gets written out. Do we need control of the name of it to be able to influence it? Or are we just saying like,
but no, I think we could expand exactly what you just said from MS Build properties. Cause that's essentially this is an environment variable.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to become.
And maybe that's what we should just name it as instead. I kind of hate having a specific MS Build thing here anyway.
It's just that it's going to be passed as -p property into the MS Build, right?
Yeah, I think you could
maybe
make
we have
an argument to do that in a different way too.
Yeah, no, maybe you're right. So the other thing, so I get what you're saying. So we want to expand this to be maybe possibly environment variables, which makes sense.
Yeah.
And then again, all you have to deal with is the password and maybe a blob storage thing that we still have to figure out. Yeah. So if we putting environment variables isn't hard, MS Build properties isn't hard, replace tokens isn't hard, variables isn't hard. When we do, just to kind of go back to how do I consume these in my app? Because that was part of the question. Mm-hmm. The goal is that the variables. So, and we have to do a better job of explaining this. Like we'll have some docs.
These 3 levels are kind of confusing, I think, too.
So leaving MS Build, this is just stuff that gets fed right into the normal MS Build process. So if you have a property, it gets fed in, CS Proj gets it, etc. Replace tokens are what goes in and looks for these guys in the JSON blob that is, right? So this was our way to say,
I thought that was
pass an environment variable. No, we're getting to that one. So replace tokens goes in, finds this build number, replaces it. So this would be like 1.0.1004.
So in our example here, we should add another replace token for that.
Yeah, we could even do it here. We could do, but I mean, this could be a replace token too, right?
Yeah, but where's that build number getting set?
So this would be passed in potentially from, so when we have the CLI, let me pull up I don't know that I haven't updated this story, unfortunately. So the goal is that the CLI, let me see if I can, I have it in OneNote. So I'm going to copy this. Hang on. It's my fault for not updating it because we've updated it here. Let me pull up this guy. No. So the goal is that we have Sherpa, replace token is manual, right? So we could do this from, like this could come in from a CI variable if we wanted to. MS Build, same thing, right? Variable, this is slightly different because we ended up coming up with replace token after. The goal is that, okay, so the build number comes in as a variable passed into the command line, error if not provided. So if we don't see it, by the way, you can see this, right, John?
Yeah.
You're not complaining at me.
I mean, it's small, but whatever. Yeah. So so build number was passed in as a variable, right?
Yes. So this goes into your CS Proj, your normal build process.
That makes sense.
Replace tokens is what we can either add or pass in. Variables, the key to variables is that, let me bring that back.
I think replace token still seems weird to me. Like what's the...
It does. Like I said, we're coming up with terms, but we're going to have to come up with like good docs to say this is what this is doing. Variables, what I was thinking here is that we'll take the final version of these. We go through hunting through the code for almost like this. So we're going to say, what's a better app version as an example? And that might be, let me say API URL.
Was that one we were going to put in like the configuration?
Yeah, so this would be todo.com. And what this is going to do is it's essentially going to go looking for same kind of build variable, mustache type looking variable. So it's going to go looking for brace bracket API URL, and it's going to go through all of your, I mean, hell, we could even have it rip through CS Proj technically, but go through your JSON. So like an app settings JSON, maybe you've got a constants.cs. It's going to go look through all those source files like a grep, search and replace. Mm-hmm. Boom. That's the end goal. So, I mean, technically you could, I'm just using a stupid example, by the way, but we've got that build number. So this could go in as https todo.com/1004 if you wanted to. But this is your build step. These are build variables. Then there's MS build variables. It is confusing.
I think we just don't even need the MS build ones, right? Because like you could just.
But we do well.
You could pass the variables all as MS build. Like you could even like
and just search and replace them.
That or like prefix them with something or just make them environment. I don't know. Yeah.
So then we do something.
I think it's like also confusing the order that it put them in the UI, right? Because it's kind of like variables. Like I'm thinking of them as more the sort of top level thing.
So if we did this, we get rid of this.
Yeah.
So Sentry DSN doesn't matter. Top API URL, whatever. Let's take this out now that this makes sense. Application version goes in, rips through our CS Proj. Just the same way it does now. At this point,
build number is also a variable that's implicitly defined, right?
I
mean, it's explicitly defined, but like not in this section.
The problem with that, though.
Yeah, is because then how do you substitute variables with variables? So you're kind of like doing a recursive weird thing, but order matters.
Well, and what about when I'm debugging, right? We can't have this. So that's a problem we need to solve for. Get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why the MS build properties almost matter. So we could say, we know the environment. We could pass an environment name, but we might say debug true or 1. So it goes in and then we can go, if its debug is set or even defined, we go this path, right? So we could do basic conditions on MS Pro.
I mean, but you can also just use variables and have it say like, if in your MS build, if this thing is empty, then put it, with a better value.
No, you're right there too.
Yeah. I think
so we need the MS build properties then.
No. You don't need them. You just do that in your own project. Like we're just shoving values into it, right? You can do whatever you need to do with them.
So if empty, we say application version, if empty, just put your default 1.0. If it's set, which means we're coming in and we're because we're searching and replacing. We're searching and replacing, which means this value has to be there. No, this value has to be. Yeah. This value is going to be there, which means this is going to evaluate to nothing. Mm-hmm. Which means we have to have different weird, like if it's empty, then we have to set it to 1.0.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to decide in how you construct your app, what are you doing to calculate this version? Like for me, if there's I'm setting the whole version depending on where I'm running. And if I'm running locally in debug, it's like some hard-coded debug version.
So if we had condition application ID. So this is pure MS build that we're not even looking at. Right? Yeah. So this would be our normal debug I did this wrong. It should be application version is what I want.
Yeah. So what I would do here is we're passing variables in as either that's just an environment variable that's set, or if we wanted to like, prefix like Sherpa something and then the variable name.
So this is what variables was originally designed to do, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess maybe our thinking of it is different too, because I don't want to put stuff like this in my project file ever. Right.
But then that's why I say that this application version goes in your MS build, and we pass it.
No, yeah, but I don't want to make anything MS build specific here, because the step that we're doing now, or like the bundle that we're making, shouldn't require that you like. I know it doesn't, but like I don't want anything specific to like .NET builds at that point, because it doesn't need to be. The .NET build part is after that, and then it can figure out what it needs to do to get values in the right place.
So then the challenge is how do we deal with info plist, right? Because there's no if then else in info plist.
Well,
right. So if we had,
there can be kind of, but yeah, it's if you don't want to use the MS build side of it to massage your info plist, then you do need to do something. But I'm kind of the same here. Is like I don't use the info plist for that kind of. I guess the version's a bad example then.
But you're trying to win two battles here, right? You want the native guys. Now this is build though, right? This is the build step, which we've said is going to be .NET.
You've done well. It is, but so the build step, if it wants to take all of the output variables from the bundle install and then do something like this, okay, right? Like there's nothing that needs to be specific to MS build in the bundle or the bundle extraction for us to be able to use those values still within the build step that is specific to MAUI.
Dramatic pause.
Because like I think that this is problematic though too, because if you open if you had something like, let's say you're doing a React app, you've probably got the info plist and you can open your code and your thing in Xcode, right? It's probably not going to like this in Xcode either. So like I think substituting here is kind of not the answer, no matter how you're doing it.
If we okay, the thing is that in order for app version to come in, right? Mm-hmm. Even if we've got these as environment variables, like let's say we take this, where's Sherpa? We take this application version, we take what doesn't matter. This value is already figured out. Let's say it's like a 9.0 point something, right? Mm-hmm. So we've already calculated that. We know the version coming in. We put that out in an environment variable, right? Mm-hmm. Great, fine and dandy. So we can read those environment variables. We still have to do, like when we do .NET build,
yep.
We still have to do that. There we go. It's already figured it out, right? So we still have to do this calculated thing, right? Which this would have been, I'm using this more of, I mean, technically that is a build variable, isn't it? This would be GitHub action.
Yeah. Basically.
Except that we need to, oh, that's going to be dangerous too. I just thought of something. So when you pass this in as a secret in a build, okay, GitHub Actions is smart enough to go, don't show that.
Secret, don't show it.
We have to write this out.
Yeah, so we might need to give the option to say like this thing is a secret or this thing is not, and we do it appropriately.
So when grapes. Well, or we put them out, so we do var, or we do, what is it for? I think it's just, what's the variable name? How do you define variables in GitHub again?
Oh, I don't know.
Who cares? Let's just do it like this. If we do this, if we output it as an environment variable, right? And then we just say, I mean, I guess you need to know where we're running. Technically, Sherpa could figure it out, right? We could have it say, if you're running in GitHub, just do this.
Yeah.
And then that way it's smart enough.
Well, and I think that's where you start layering in there's a GitHub action that knows how to do this from the outputs of the previous GitHub action.
Sorry, what do you mean by that?
So like when if we make, so the CLI, like maybe the CLI has to be given that like the variables specifically or something. The GitHub action wraps our CLI, and because it's a GitHub action that we made, like the one that you can consume in other repositories, right?
Hang on, don't finish your thought. We're overthinking this. The reason we're overthinking this is because we're running this. So this won't show up because we'll do process info and we'll execute it.
Yeah. For that part,
so then this doesn't matter.
Well, that's that's what I.
So I'm getting all wires. So
I think
we
that
can do
the
this.
info plist and stuff gets interesting for other frameworks and things like that, but I don't really want to solve that right now. But yeah, for us, like we can figure it out.
So we know to run this. We can create all of this crap, right? Because we're running this. So the secret problem goes away because I don't think
it's going to enumerate them and we can put them as properties, either just like everything is a property. I don't know if it will make sense to try and special case some of them. Like we know application version is a special property.
I'd say who cares? They put this in.
Yeah.
This comes in the way the bundle is set, right?
Yeah.
So because we do process exec, we run this with the process exec in the Sherpa CLI, Sherpa bundle CLI. So then we don't have to worry about secrets. We don't have to worry about exposing secrets in the build process logs. I'm making notes so I remembered this because this is good thinking. Okay. So we still have this problem, right? So now if we just pass everything in like this, we still need to know that this is an MS build. We have to. Otherwise, how do we pass this in?
It's a variable. You just pass it in. You assume it is.
Or we don't pass in application version because we searched and replaced.
No, because you don't want to put that in your source files. I don't want my project file to have stuff in it that if I just go to build it without, Sherpa doing the replace, it's going to.
Yeah, it's that. And that's the key problem here. So how do we know to set this, right?
So it's a variable from the bundle that gets installed. All the variables pass through to the .NET MAUI build portion of things, and then we either just say it's a variable, so we're adding -p : variable name equals value, or we give the option to say, yes, I want this passed in, and maybe I want to change the name of the variable it gets passed in as, or I don't, and that is owned by the configuration of the .NET build part, not the bundle definition.
Because then we still end up with this. We have to do something stupid like this.
And I don't want that either. I'd rather source gen or whatever. Like yeah.
But we can't force, right? So we have to do API URL.
Yeah, no, I don't care for that either personally.
So this is kind of where we're trying to figure out. So
I think forget the build part for now, honestly. And I think once we have the rest of that, once we have like the bundle that installs certs and profiles and extracts all of the secrets and puts them in environment variables or whatever, then it will be a little bit more clear how to proceed with the build. Because the build part, I really think it should be sort of decoupled from the bundle part in a sense. Like there might, we might still want stuff in the bundle that defines how the build will work, but I don't want the design of the rest of the bundle to influence that for a specific platform. Because I think if we do end up with something in that JSON or whatever that is specific to how to build it, there's probably going to be like it almost like there's a build step, and it can be a MAUI build or an Android build or a Swift build, like whatever. So you almost have like polymorphism in your definition of what the build step looks like.
Don't know. I don't like it. This is my big want, right? Is the whole shabam.
Yeah. And and I think the thing will flow together. I just want to be careful about making it scoped solely to MAUI.
For build, who cares, right? We had already said that as a goal. We're going to worry about this. I don't think we're limited to MAUI per se. Anyways,
no, but if we start shoving MS build stuff in like the higher levels of things, that doesn't feel right to me.
So then, okay.
Think of the build part as something that we plug different things in. And for now, the only thing we care about plugging in is MAUI, but we don't want to make it so that somebody else can come along and plug in something else.
Becomes environment variables.
Yeah. I mean, that's the standard currency of CI stuff anyway, right? So
we pass all environment variables. I'm just going to start short forming this. We pass all env vars to
the build step.
To the build step automatically.
Yep.
All variables are already updated with their
calculated
replace tokens, calculated, computed, whatever. So we know we've got whatever set at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
But are they? No, because we have to pass the replace tokens are coming in from
the call to the bundle. Yeah. So like,
okay,
I think that's fine.
Okay. So it's just it almost felt like chicken and egg.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
It's not. It's just the way it is. Because when we call Sherpa's going to compute them and then do all this crap. So it's
because you'll have some top level things dynamically passed into the Sherpa call, which will then affect the computation of the variables. Potentially they get computed. Our certs get installed. Our profiles get installed. Our key stores get put somewhere.
It outputs environment variables.
Outputs environment variables with values of the calculated variables, as well as, whatever else is coming in from that bundle. And then at that point, the landscape is created for the build step to come in and be like, okay, I'm doing a MAUI build, so I'm going to need to go, do this, this, and this. Because like, remember the half of the goal of this is not really even the build and variables. It's like just getting the certs and crap installed, right? And that's like independent of what you do in the build and everything. And so the other part of it is the build, but it's really just feeding it the right set of environment variables at the end of the day.
I think we've got the thing is that installing the provisioning profiles and certs and all that stuff, that's pretty easy at this point.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think there's anything, and deployment is also easy. Your replacement tokens make sense. Environment, we know we're going to pass. And so it's really this is the last this is actually the last problem.
Yeah, replacement tokens, to me anyway, like I don't know that I'll really use them at all. I think it's kind of
100% you would, because you want those CI variables. You want the build ID.
Well, but that's just a variable.
It is and it's not, because we want it concatenated, right?
Yeah, but the variable itself, we kind of had like that. Maybe we need to firm up the way that we are talking about, because look, if you go back to your example, you had like variables that had substitutions in them.
Yes,
maybe not.
One.
Yeah.
But it comes in from the CLI, right? The
Right.
CLI
So like
sends.
But it's not. It didn't come in as a. It came in as a variable farther down that line.
I mean, technically, it would be this, right? This is what.
No. Like look farther to your right. You already have variable build number.
No, I get it. I think what's happened here is that. Okay, let's leave that replace token. This would be. If this would be from GitHub or ASDO, right?
Yeah. Sure. Yep.
So ASDO would go and see this,
and it would set the variable as that, and then
then that would come down into here.
There, I think it's okay. I don't think you need to make that a replace token thing. I think a variable is fine. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's fine too. It makes it kind of clear that variable is never something that gets like concatenated. It's only, or like that. You can't do a variable into a variable like that.
And so we want to get rid of MS build.
Yep.
So we're going to call this environment.
It's just variables. Don't even call it environment. It collapse it with the variable section. Or it is the variable section, I guess.
So then we want these replace tokens out entirely. They don't go in.
I don't see why,
So this is just variables.
I think replace token is really just a thing that comes in from the command.
Yes. So these can go all bye-bye.
Yeah, those are variables too if you wanted them. Yeah, because there's no need to like...
These are variables.
There's no need to have a static value in a replace token in the file, right? Because you're calculating it from the command line input.
Variables. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes things...
Yeah.
Yes. So... This is all still perfect.
Yep.
This now makes more sense. We could still make it so you can pass in a variable here. I think we talked about that. And this is the automatic winner, right? Mm-hmm. So this is the lowest. So if it went down into here, so if I passed in application date, this guy wins.
Yep.
So it goes this guy, then down into production variables, and then down into build variables. And then lastly, this guy. So that's like, there's like 4 levels. It's crazy. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
And you might not even need, I mean, you probably do want it per platform still.
Maybe, but I think at that point, this is where this guy takes over, right? Because this we're assuming is everything if you don't pass it. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I was just thinking
passing it.
You probably want to, because what are the chances you're going to build every platform in one go? Like, I don't know. That feels kind of weird. Maybe.
Because we can, the one thing is we can do that in parallel, right? A lot better than,
true.
I mean, people do this. They have jobs that they set it up and they split them in parallel.
That's true.
We could just say, build them in parallel. You give us multiples, we'll build it in parallel for you. So we'll call .NET both sides.
Unless we make our, like, because I would probably do that in the GitHub workflow level, though, so I can see the pretty broken up, matrix or whatever in the actual GitHub.
Sure,
we could do that,
but you have that option
in the workflow ourselves. We could kind of get to that point if we wanted to, but like in the action that we make that wraps it.
I think the point is
that
you can go either way. So we can do all of them for you in parallel, or you can say no, just build Android or iOS, right? And maybe Windows is on a completely, because that's the other thing, right? Like,
you might build
maybe you build iOS,
one
platform, and then you're like Windows build on the Windows Docker. So, okay, so I think that makes it. I think that makes a lot more sense. Oh, this guy has to go too.
Oh yeah.
This is just variables.
Yep.
Okay, we're still keeping the build section, because we may have to do other things for it. So instead of just calling this build variables, we're going to keep that for now.
Yeah.
For build. There's lots of decisions that we're making.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to document all this stuff.
Yeah. And then like essentially we end up making in the Sherpa CLI a build provider abstraction, right? And then like MAUI is the first and maybe only one we implement for the foreseeable future, that then gets shipped the variables, and it figures out how to do the build invocation from there.
I love the comments I leave for you.
Yeah, lovely.
It's not fun. You're lucky you don't have to go through my code often. You'd be like, oh my God, you're going to get fired. If this was in Microsoft, they'd can you. Some of the stuff I leave is crazy. All right. So I think we've got a good plan and a good understanding. We still have to figure out this. This remains the last issue. I don't think we're going to come up with it today. I think
I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know that we have
take all this
an opinionated way that we should do it.
I'm going to take all this updated notes. I'm going to throw it in random brain dump from live stream on June 26th. All right. You can complain later. You didn't even say anything, John. What's up?
Always got to highlight. Always got to highlight.
I read your mind.
Yeah.
So I usually try to goof with John if we're talking online. I will send him stuff and he'll always go
code with a no code block formatting. And it's like, what the heck is this? I'm not reading.
I'm like, why can't the editor or the chat program just go, oh, that looks like code. I'm going to put his stuff, but it doesn't. Come on, man.
If you don't do it, I'm not reading it. So
yeah, he doesn't. I'll have to go in, copy it, put the stuff around it, and go, oh, I can read that. That looks good. All right. So we have a bunch of stuff we've come up with. I think we simplified a lot. This makes more sense today.
Yeah.
We still know that this is the problem. So
yeah. We'll talk more about that one. Think about it more. I don't know. I don't know that it is a problem, but maybe it is. Maybe we'll think.
Maybe at this point we take this off the stream anyways, because I think now we're into implementation mode, right?
Yeah.
So this can probably just be something we continue to work on. And maybe next week we go into something else. Because nobody's complained about this yet. Nobody's brought it up. Maybe because they don't know what the hell we're doing yet, which makes sense. But
come, to a point where it's understood and everyone rejoices because it's there and it's awesome. And then it'll be great. I think that
this was a crazy idea.
I mean, no, I still think it's a good idea. At the end of the day, it's like, I want it, you want it, we'll use it. That's fine.
Yeah. It's the greatest part of open source.
But we gotta the other thing to figure out still after offline here is to have it figure out what the size of that file looks like when it's bundled up. So to see if we can actually put it in a secret or not, or if we have to do the whole workaround for that.
Yeah, I think we might be all right. I think we might, but
I hope so.
If we're already seeing a limitation, then we're going to have to plan.
Yeah. To be determined. All right. I think that'll do it.
I think we're
well over today in our rambling. So,
and I think we'll probably go into something else, and now we'll take this one offline. So got some other cool episodes decided on. So we'll get back to them.
All right.
All right.
Good place to end it. All right. We'll see you next time on Gone.net.
Bye.